Hello friends, today we are going to see how to create a simple login form page with PHP and MySQL. Contents are table structure, configuration, HTML, CSS, PHP, then finally we check with demo. In table structure, I am using the table tutorial example. This is the query we have to run, okay? This is the phpMyAdmin where I am going to add database called PHP tutorial. Okay, I have added PHP tutorial and I am going to run that SQL query which I have showed you before, and executing this query. Finally, query is executed, checking with the table. Okay, now I am inserting the details 2 to 3 users. First is test 1 2 3, then name test, password 1 2 3 4, second test 1 2 3 4, after that another one test, one more user I have created, and same keeping the password 1 2 3 4. After this I am executing now. Okay, clicking on go button. Finally, two details added, which is showed over here. Okay, now we go with the configuration. Created configuration file. The details are this, we have to add it. Now adding this code of configuration in config.php, starting the PHP tag, and that first I am going to session start. After that, adding host created, giving the detail for host, that is local host, then second variable user, my PHP MyAdmin user is root, so I am adding root according to your PHP MyAdmin you add it. After that, adding password, my local PHP MyAdmin having not password, so keeping as it is blank. Finally, adding a variable called dbName, and dbName which I have given as PHP tutorial. Okay, after this we going to check the connection. Okay, so created variable con connection and adding a function MySQL connect for connection purpose, and adding all the details of MySQL, that is for database connection. First is host variable, second username, third obviously password. After that, DB name. Okay, we set this all detail to connection variable. Finally, now I am checking the connection. Okay, so we're going to check with connection, adding a if statement. In that I am checking if connection is not connection variable, printing echo die with connection. Okay, message I am going to add it, that is connection failed, with message concatenating MySQL connection error. So finally we're done with this configuration. Okay, okay, MySQL connect error. Okay, so finally done. Now we move toward HTML. Here I am creating a login page where we have to add this HTML. Okay, so in the code section I am going to add input field. First I am adding h1 tag where we're going to add login. After that, adding the input field. In that is also inside the div. Okay, now input field. In input field, whatever the attributes are there, we have to add it. First is type, that is text, obviously for username. Then giving class text box. After that, ID, txt, uname. Okay, that is for username. Then finally the name, same as ID. It depends upon you what you have to give. Okay, now finally adding the placeholder, that is nothing but the username. Now copying this full, as we have to add 3 input fields, same. So I have pasted 2 input field. Just we have to replace the name and ID, plus also change with the placeholder. ID I am going to give pwd, name same, that is pwd, and placeholder finally password. Okay, and in the button section, for button I am created a type submit, class keeping as it is, no, I'm going to add in place of, we have to add value. So submit name txt, name and id we have to add it. So txt submit, and removing the placeholder. Okay, so finally checking in the browser. Okay, so finally done with the HTML code. Now moving to CSS. This is the total CSS file and code. We have to add it into the CSS section. Okay, in the code section I'm directly added in the link CSS file. I'm directly adding all this CSS. Finally, you see the CSS is applied to HTML code. Okay, I'm not showing you how the CSS step by step directly added. Okay, now in this PHP we have to add this code. So going to check with this PHP. Okay, starting with the PHP in the body section, as we have created 3 input fields. First I am including the config section. Okay, because we have to check with the connection, so including file config.php. Okay, config.php. After this I am creating username, means setting a one variable called uname. In that, no, I am checking first this whether post submit, because we have to check after submitting post is set or not, because we have to check over here. So checking the post value of button submit. Then I am creating variable called username, uname, and escaping MySQL real escape string. Okay, in that we have to check connection, comma, post value, uname of the input field. Okay, that is nothing but txt underscore uname. After that, second variable I am setting, that is password. Similar, checking with function MySQL real escape string, and checking with connection plus post variable txtpwd. Okay, finally post variable bracket start and txt password, that is PWD. Now I am adding here if statement, checking if username and password is not equal to blank. So uname not equal to blank and 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 dollar underscore dollar password not equal to blank. Okay, in that I am first getting the detail from database, so I am setting a select query to a variable called SQL query and writing the select query in that select count SCLECT select count as variable as username. Okay, user count setting CNT user. Okay, from user table USCR S where username which is we have set in the PHP myadmin equal to $uname variable which we have set above in the code. Okay, and copying that variable and pasting over here, otherwise okay, so not user. Okay, finally set it and and setting password p password and then setting that variable in dollar password. Okay, now I am creating a variable called result. There I have to run that query, run this select query. Okay, so MySQL query, MySQL query. In that query, I am providing the connection to the database and executing the query variable name called SQL query. Okay, after this, creating raw variable. In that raw variable, I am fetching the details of result. Okay, so MySQL fetch array. For that using function, and in that I am setting variable result. So this done. After this result, okay, now we have to check count. So I'm creating over here after closing bracket count variable and setting raw in that CNT user. Okay, in this variable we can get number of counts. Now I am checking with if statement. If count is greater than 0, variable count greater than 0, in that we're going to check first assigning session uname session variable and assigning the username variable which we are posted the value. Okay, if it is set means after setting header location I'm transferring to home.php means it will redirect to this location home.php. Else otherwise we have to add here printing the message invalid username and password. Invalid username and password. Okay, username and password. Finally, we're done with the PHP configuration and adding the code for the form. Now we move toward home page, which is the final page. In this section, we're going to create a logout button on the home page. Okay, and so in code, we checking means adding the PHP code for this. As you have seen, the logout input field already I have added, just I am adding the PHP code for it. Okay, in that PHP code first we include the config file. Obviously we check with the condition and all. Okay, so config.php. After this we're going to check whether you are login or log out. Okay, log out. Here after this I am checking in the if statement. If not, it's set session variable name called uname, then location will redirect to login.php. So session uname variable uname, then header will redirect to location login.php. Okay, means setup is not set, then it will redirect to login PHP. If it is, now I am checking the logout. If button is means logout button, if going to click means it will post. Okay, it said post button logout. Post in the bracket, that is variable name is but logout. In the if statement of that, we will first destroy the session. Okay, so log out, then if statement, inside if statement, going to destroy session underscore destroy, and after that redirect to location login.php. Okay, so finally we redirect to login.php. Okay, so finally we done with the home.php coding also. Now we move toward demo section, final and last. As you are seeing in the PHP MyAdmin, we created two users, that is test123 user test and 123 for password. We check with this details. Okay. Oh, we get one error at line number 17. Oh, here 4 is there, so remove it. Now check. Another one error we getting at 24 line number. Oh, we have forgot to add. Okay, now check. Oh, finally we done with it. Now I am adding any username, checking whether validation is working or not. So ah, that's working now. Invalid username and password. Okay. Now the details I am adding: test 123 and password 1234. Whether it is working or not. Great. Finally it's working. Now log out. Okay. Now we're done with it. So finally we're done with creating a login form. Okay friends. Thank you. Bye.